24-volt brushless polisher. Is it for the weekend warrior or for the pro? Or both? I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. This is the Kobalt model number KBO 124B-03, and it's their 6-inch brushless random orbital polisher. Obviously a cordless tool. Runs off their 24-volt battery platform. Now, as you see it here, it comes as a bare tool. It does not come with these batteries here. They may offer it in a kit form soon, but for right now, you get bare tool only, so you'll have to buy your batteries and chargers separately. But if you're already in the Kobalt platform, then your 24-volt batteries are going to work just fine on it. Now, what does this fit for? You know, is it fit for a pro to go cordless, or is it more for that weekend warrior that's going to be running out of their shop and, you know, doing their own classic cars, keeping track of their own family cars, making sure they're nice and clean and spotless and waxes and sealants and polishes and everything else? Is it great for that? Or will it actually fit in the pro's hands? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do, is put it in a pro's hands, see what he thinks about it, then we'll use it in the shop as well. Then we'll come back and give you our conclusion. This is the Kobalt 6-inch random orbital or dual action polisher. It is the model number KBO 124B-03. And as I mentioned, it runs on their 24-volt platform. This kit does not come with a battery. Right now, you cannot get it kitted with a battery. So you get the bare tool. But what it does come with, it comes with some accessories. So you get 3 pads. You get basically a cut compound pad, a polish pad, and then a finishing pad, wax, glaze, sealant, whatever you want to call that. So 3 pads with it. By the way, pretty decent pads. We've used them a little bit so far. You also get 2 handles. You get a D-ring handle as well as a grinder handle. Anyway, I don't know why you'd ever use this for polish. Maybe some people would like that if you're not used to a polisher. Maybe something that gives you some familiarity with a grinder or a sander. But anyway, it comes with both of those handles. Typically, you're going to see on the pro side of things, I'm using them kind of bare like you see here. So I'm glad that Kobalt has included rubber overmold here on the nose, as well as you can tell that they've contoured this a little bit so you can easily grab this. You'll see a lot of pros, either they kind of grasp it this way or maybe grab it more kind of fingers forward like that. But anyway, I want to just kind of guide this polisher. So we do have that rubber overmold up here to grab a hold of. You also get the rubber overmolding here for your standard grip and be able to grab the trigger. Now, a couple more features on this. This is a brushless tool, so it is going to be more efficient on a battery, which is great on a tool like this because you are going to burn through some batteries when you're polishing a car, and the brushless motor is going to help reduce that even further. You get a truly variable speed trigger, so you'll be able to vary that speed, and you can lock that on as well. So once you pull it up, push the lock button, and that's going to lock that to maximum RPMs. You also get a true variable speed dial. So there are no specific speeds, and you get all those in-betweens as well. So the speed dial is also variable. Well, why do you have both? Well, this is where you set your maximum RPM or your maximum speed and power, and then your throttle or your trigger is going to control everything from 0 up to that max that you've set. You do have 5 speeds on the variable dial, so 5 is wide open, and then of course 1 is going to be low. And as I mentioned, there's no detents in here, so you're not feeling anything or half clicks or anything like that, but you do get true variable speed in between these different numbers as well. So, you know, in between 4 and 5, you'll get 4.5. So you can vary that RPM even with the speed dial. I'll show you here in a moment. The battery, let me bring in a battery here just so we can see the setup. It's kind of a side-mounted battery, which helps because typical on when you get into 18, 20, 24-volt batteries like this, it typically has a long side. Well, if you just mounted that regular style, like on a grinder or something, that would be standing up and you'd be hitting the vehicle. So mounting it sideways, turning that battery 90 degrees, helps and aids in not getting that closer to the vehicle, but getting it further away. This is a 6-inch backing plate. So as we talked about the pads over there, those are 6-inch pads. So you get the hook and loop, or Velcro, if we can say that. That's a trade name. But anyway, regardless, the hook and loop fastener, so you can easily pull those pads on and off, and you get that 6-inch pad. You also see your insert connections right there where you can hook up your handles, either your D-ring or your side mount, post handle, if you will. And then here on the bottom of the tool, a lot of times you'll get fling off when you're polishing a vehicle. And this is the intake where the air comes in, flows and travels down this tool, and then exits out below the pad to keep everything cool in here. And this keeps all your fling off from entering into those vents and being able to be pulled in here. So from time to time, you can pop this out and clean it. You can easily, there's just little indents on the side. You can pull that stainless steel screen off, blow it out, wash it out, whatever you need to do, and then replace it there to keep everything nice and tidy on the inside. This also has a 5-year warranty. So the Kobalt 24V tools, most of them, definitely this polisher has a 5-year warranty on it. We're going to pair this with a 4 amp hour extended runtime battery to get the most life, if you will, out of this and see how far we can polish with it. But RPMs on this, they're claiming 3,800, but I think that may be a misprint. The oscillations are mentioned to be 3,800 as well, so I'm sure that's what they mean, because I don't believe it's spinning at 3,800 RPMs. But if you know anything about dual action polishers, and random orbital, if you will, so what happens is your oscillations are forced, but your rotations is not forced. That's just based off of the spinning of the OPMs or the oscillations, and then that creates the RPM or the actual true rotary motion, if you will. We'll see that here in a moment as well. Now that I've got a battery in it, as I mentioned, we can set the max speed here. Also, on the variable speed trigger, you can see I can make this about crawl, pretty slow. And then be able to vary that speed based off of that trigger pull. Also, as I mentioned, you can see between 3 and say 3.5. We're varying that speed up as that dial goes up. So you get that true variable speed in the trigger as well as in the speed dial. So with the battery, pounds and ounces, we're looking at almost, about 5.5 pounds. So 5 pounds, 10 ounces, a little over 5.5 pounds with the 4 amp hour battery on the tool. Let's go use this a little. We'll put it in the hands of a pro. We'll use it here in the shop and then give you our feedback. Start at 4 here.
This sounds real loud and super clunky, but it's actually extremely smooth. So when you go to pull, you can see that it's actually got a little bit of play to it before it still hasn't started moving yet. So it does slow start, but you've got to give it almost
Half a pull.
half, maybe a quarter before it actually starts.
Yeah, and then it is variable.
And then it is, yes. Weight-wise, it's extremely balanced, front to back, in the middle. Like no matter where you're holding it, when you're doing your polishing, it never feels like the front is heavier than the back or the battery part's heavier in the front. Like no matter what, wherever you hold it, it feels like it's the same weight across the board. I ran it, so I started out 3 right there and blended it in without using slow start to see if that was better, and then I turned it up to 5. It's smooth enough that if you had to, you could just hold on to the back of the battery. They're gonna love me polishing with one hand. Just in case y'all were wondering, the pad is spinning the whole time, unless you go over a corner. All right, so when you're on the flat panel up here, it stays spinning, but I will show, so as you come down a transition right here, it does go from spinning to just kind of its stalled orbiting motion, because it's going over a transition right here. But if you're able to get it to more of a flat surface like this, instead of just trying to roll the edge, it will pick up and start spinning again. So it's spinning the whole time right now. But as soon as you as you turn to go over a panel like this, it will start to stop and then pick itself right back up. It doesn't hop or change or anything when you go over a transition like that. Some of them will tend to want to hop or, yeah. It's smooth and stays smooth the whole time.
All right, so this is a 1969 truck that was probably painted, I would assume, 1980-ish. The paint is starting to check up a little bit. It's there, pretty dull, but we're going to see what we can do this. We're not trying to bring this back. We're not trying to do correction. We're just going to see a difference here. Everybody loves tape lines, so let's show some tape lines here. How about what? So let me put it down here. Maybe we can kind of see a before and after. So let's get started here. I'm going to use the yellow pad, the cutting pad, and just a little polish here. Oh, a little more than what I wanted. You know, one thing I wanted to mention that I noticed was not there. There are no rubber feet on this. A lot of the polishers, most of them today, you'll see when you can set them on the vehicle, they'll have rubber feet under here to keep any plastic or hard things from contacting the paint or finish. So I don't see those on here. However, I don't know that that's a big deal because just about any professional detailer that I know, they'll typically lay a microfiber down anyway before they lay the tool on the car. But just wanted to mention that. As I mentioned, usually there's a couple of rubber feet that stick up so that you can lay that tool upside down on the car. But again, I would recommend lay your microfiber down before you do that anyway, and you're not worried about it hurting your vehicle. Now, I know Chase is going to mention the same things on this, but one thing about it, it's a very balanced tool. You can see it, center of gravity with this 4 amp hour battery is about dead center of the tool, and definitely where you're holding it. So it is a well-balanced tool with that 4 amp hour. With a 2 amp hour, it'd probably be more head heavy, or definitely would be. But that 4 amp hour really balances the tool out well. So it is easy to hold, as well as you'll see a lot of times that those that are experienced with a battery-powered polisher, they'll hold that tool back here and up here rather than trying to hold it by the handle. They'll lock out the trigger and hold it back. And it's just another way that you can easily guide the tool, you know, kind of fore and aft, if you will. But really, there's a couple of ways you can hold it. That single stage paint is just sucking that stuff up. You can stall this pad, meaning it go from, you know, oscillating and rotating to just oscillating in one area and it not rotating, especially on these curves. So I'm stopping that rotation like right there. Whereas once I lift on it a little bit, now we're back to rotating. Now there are plenty of flaws still left in this paint, but you can see a pretty good tape line there of what we've done, which is really probably just really cleaned this up more than anything, because like I said, I could definitely show you plenty of deviations and cracks and everything else in this paint, but you can see just cleaning that up a little bit with some polish makes a world of difference. Okay, so you heard straight from Chase at Michael's Auto Detailing of what he thought about the polisher. There's a lot of good things he said about it, as well as a couple of possible drawbacks and things that you may want to look at before choosing a polisher like this. Now, here's my take on it after taking Chase's feedback as well as using it here in the shop. It did quite well on our shop truck. Let's face it, it's, you know, 30, 40-year-old paint. And we weren't trying to correct it per se, just trying to bring some of the luster back on it, or at least make it not look like it was from 1980. And it did quite well of doing that, more just kind of cleaning up the paint. But to do actual paint correction with this, it's not going to do that well. I believe the orbit on this is like an 8mm orbit. It doesn't state anywhere what it is, but looking at it, feeling it, looks more of like a 8mm, not a 12 or a 15, definitely not a 21. Is it a bad tool? No. Is it fit for the pro? Probably not, because you're not going to do paint correction with it. Also, they mentioned that a 4 amp hour battery will do an entire car when you're polishing or waxing. I doubt that's going to happen. Just doing a full hood, we burned at least one cell on a battery. So if you're going to be polishing a full-size car, an SUV, I would recommend you have 2 4 amp hour batteries, or at least a couple of batteries that you can keep on charge while you're using the other one. But it's a great supplemental tool. So that pro that's looking for something to kind of supplement their arsenal, if you will, where they can have a battery powered unit, this could be great for that. For those single step processes, things like that, or just keeping their own cars nice and clean, then hey, a great tool for you, especially if you're already on the Kobalt platform. Price on this is going to run you $129 for the bare tool. That comes with the 3 pads as well, which, by the way, that's pretty nice that you get 3 pads to use with this. So you're going to have to buy batteries and chargers. So you're already $129 in on the tool. Lowe's does sell a pack that has the 2 amp hour battery as well as the 4 amp hour battery and a charger for $129. So both those, you're in this for $260. Now, if you look at a pro style cordless polisher, you're going to be quite a bit north of that. If you're looking at a pro style plug-in polisher, you can get a plug-in polisher for about that price. So you're definitely below what you would pay as a pro for a pro style cordless polisher. And you're also going to get a 5-year warranty with the tool also. Hey, check it out for yourselves. Again, it's the Kobalt KBO 124V-03. Also, if you don't mind, would you keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter? And if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button and even the subscribe button if you like this channel and you like this video. If you didn't like this video, by all means, give us that thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.